What up? Welcome back to Blue Collar Comics. My first video in like half a year. It's the channel about, as the title of the channel suggests, it's kind of like collecting comics on a budget. I'm not rich. I work a blue collar job, but I want to just show cool stuff I get, talk about stuff that I get, talk about stuff I'm into, and show that you don't have to have a collection full of the coolest keys necessarily to be into this beautiful and painful hobby that we call comics. This is probably my first video in 6 months. I kind of go in spurts with comics. I have been reading my weekly pull list stuff off and on when I can. I've been keeping a pull list of about 10 current titles. I like to keep up with current stuff and support the industry and support the artists and all that. But as far as like kind of back issue, collecting, filling in runs, stuff like that, I go in spurts. I get very kind of like hyper focused, like super into it for bursts, and then I'll just kind of take a long break or take a few months and just kind of not just keep up with my weeklies or whatever. So that this gap between my last video and now is really just one of those long breaks where I got a bunch of cool stuff at Comic-Con, kept up with my weeklies, my new weekly Wednesday books, and then this second Comic-Con here in Motor City was really the first time I've really splurged and bought a whole bunch of back issues. Everything I'm going to show today was like $1 or less. I have a lot to show, so I probably won't be talking about like every book or anything like that. But yeah, if you listen to me ramble on all that, thank you so much. This is going to be, get your coffee, get your popcorn, get your Skittles, your Milk Duds, whatever. Settle in. I'm going to be showing a lot of covers, a lot of stuff. Everything was like $1 or cheaper. You're not going to see any like eye-popping books, but that's kind of what this channel is. I collect for the art, for the characters, for the stories and the runs, and kind of like just kind of stuff that I'm into rather than necessarily like what's like the hottest or like the most quote unquote important, which is it's kind of the whole channel, I guess, is I mean as I show a Batman comic, but yeah, that's I don't know if I'm making much sense, but Batman, obviously, if you've seen any of my videos, my favorite character of all time, probably. Got into him as a really, really young kid. I was the perfect age for the Batman animated series, the Justice League cartoon, the Burton movies, the Nolan movies, which I've soured on as I've gotten older. But the character in the world, I still, it's Batman. It's tough to beat. Yeah, this is number 415. I'm trying to collect like every Batman issue from when I was born till the present. We'll see if we get there. There's a lot of keys, obviously, but that book that I just showed was that's older than I am. But when I find a book that's that cheap, that in my opinion is that cool for that price, I'm gonna get it. Even if it's like technically outside the window that I'm trying to collect. That's $5.25. I was talking in an earlier version of this video about how I should do like channel updates or like collection updates. This is an amazing Kelly Jones cover. Like his art, the long ears, there's something about it, and that's just a great Two-Face. Yeah, it's a sick cover. So you're gonna hear me ramble a lot, but yeah, I was talking about doing like a collecting update video where I kind of, clue in the two people or whatever that actually watch the videos. This is, it's kind of just an outlet for me really right now, but to show stuff I'm picking up. But to at least like keep people kind of in the loop of like what I'm trying to fill in and how close I am. I'm not, I've got a lot of runs going at once because I'm into a lot of stuff, and at some point I may need to pare down my collection. Who knows? It's not like super big right now. I think it's like 2,300 ish books, off and on since I was a kid, and I've given my spiel about the majority of my collection, including all of my Marvel, pretty much all of my Marvel, was stolen out of my car when I was in college, blah, blah, blah. Poor me. It really bummed me out for a few years. It made me sour on the hobby. I just stopped buying books, and then I got back into it with a few exceptions here and there, like of stuff I would just kind of, I had vague interest in. This is Detective Comics now, obviously. Big 80-page giant. There was like 7 copies of this in the bin, so it's probably like a worthless issue, but for $1 from the 89, it's not. I'm not gonna not get that because I need it for mine. But yeah. So I really soured on the hobby for a really long time, and it was DC Rebirth. Up until that point, I had pretty much. So I grew up with like the X-Men movies, the Spider-Man movies, like renting trades from the library, that were mostly Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, and it's a some great covers in this Detective Comics run, by the way. And so my collection, like up until the point of having a lot of it, forcibly purged from my collection. One of my favorite covers of the haul for sure, 633. I also wish they would bring back this trade dress for Detective Comics. It's sick. Up until that point, I was pretty much like a 50-50 reader. I was like not involved at all with like outside of the big two when it came to comics. I am now more, but although as you'll see today, like most of my collection is still DC, but as far as like reading, and I pick up a lot. I pick up, or rent other stuff, and I, dabble around. But up until that point, I was pretty much just reading Marvel and DC. And it was probably like 50-50. And then after I pretty much lost all my Marvel out of that, it just kind of bummed me out and turned me off of the hobby for a really long time. And I got back into it, I don't know, 4 years later, 5, whenever, here's a double buy. I have this book already. I'm showing it anyway. Mistakes happen. I think I did a really good job considering how many books I bought at not double buying. But yeah, I have this already. But it's Lee Weeks, so you can't, I don't mind having 2 copies of some Lee Weeks art. But I got back into comics a few years after that with the relaunch, or like kind of relaunch of the DC Rebirth. 680 Detective Comics. I'm trying to pick up all Detective Comics too, from present to whenever's affordable, I guess. But like at least like to my birth year, we'll see how long I keep it. But so I got back into it with Rebirth, and I really liked a lot of the titles they were putting out for that for a while, and it got me back into DC and then eventually like Image and stuff as well. But because I'd always been reading like Brubaker and Phillips stuff. But yeah, after that I kind of like never really it's very like old school cover. I like when there's like the blurbs or the bubbles, word bubbles and stuff on the front. I never really got back into Marvel Comics after that, and my collection in those last, like, when Rebirth is 10 years old now, I think. My collection in those last 10 years has reflected that. It's like 99% DC, Vertigo, and some independent publishers. Which, as I say every time, is not some like team sports thing or where I think that's blah, blah, blah. Like, I think at the age that I'm at now, I'm not old or anything. I just mean like, I feel like I have so much more history now with the DC universe. This is the Ostrander Mandrake Spectre run that I started collecting about 6 months ago. I just heard great things about it. It seems like really up my alley. The covers are gorgeous. It's got that dark existential, macabre that my weird ass is into. So it's number 10. I picked up a few of those. like I heard Basement Comics talking about this too, except for him, he's been collecting longer than me. He's been reading longer than me, and he got Marvel got its hooks in him really early, and he's reading I think like the new Firestorm mini right now, and he was talking about how just the little nitpick and aspects of the universe, the smaller like the edges of the universe that he's so familiar with in Marvel because he's been reading it for like 30 years. He has no frame of reference for that with DC. And so it's not like, for me at least, some people, I think for some people it is team sports and like weird allegiances, which if you're an adult, in my opinion, is just kind of strange. Unless it's all for fun, like haha, but like for me, I'm kind of the same way, except for like obviously I think my overall comic knowledge is like DC universe knowledge is not like the most robust or encyclopedic or anything like that, but it's certainly more, especially in the last 10 years or so, than my kind of knowledge about like Marvel comics. And so even so with current stuff, I'm pretty much just picking up DC and Independence. And then with back issue stuff, it's kind of the same way because that's what I've been reading currently. And then so it's like the more that I read about the history and the past of one, you know, universe, the easier it is to just kind of stay with that. Especially because for collecting purposes, at least what I'm finding, like DC stuff's just kind of cheaper, and it's been, and maybe that's because it's not as good. I don't know, but it hasn't been as hard for me to find and get into. Oh, this reminds me. Sorry, like I'm a lot of rambling. I'm not doing a whole lot of edits. Just bear with me if you're watching. Thanks. Daryl Banks was at Comic-Con. I did I even mention in this cut that I got sick? Oh, I didn't. I got sick at Comic-Con. I got comic crud or comic flu or whatever you call it. So that was great. That was my little souvenir. I went on Friday with my wife, which is what it's kind of become a little bit of a pattern for us, and it works for us. And you get in there early; it's a little less busy. But unfortunately, Scott Snyder wasn't there on Friday, and I think Stephanie Phillips was not there either. I don't have any big Phillips books, I don't think, but like I could have had Snyder sign my Absolute Batman or my other Batman 1 or whatever, which is around here somewhere. And but he wasn't there Friday, so it is what it is. But Daryl Banks was there, and I also just have not been good about bringing stuff to get signed. And this is just a random issue. I'm trying to fill in this run, the Mars and Banks run, or actually the whole 1990 to 2004 run of Green Lantern. And so I at least got to see Daryl Banks at least, and but I didn't have anything for him to sign. But I really like that run, so it was cool to see him there. This is, for those of you probably don't know this because I've only been talking about my comic book fandom. I am an enormous James Bond nerd. Obviously, the character is #problematic. I have made peace with that. I find the character to be extremely interesting, both from like an academic standpoint and just like plain fun fantasy escapism. Yeah, I'm a huge, huge James Bond nerd. If you go in the comments and ask me any kind of like obscure trivia about the series, whether it's like the Fleming novels or the movies, I probably will know the answer. It's very pathetic, and that's like one of my weird quirks. Had no idea Marvel put these out. I think this is a 3-issue series. It might be more. I don't have any of the other ones. This was in there for $1. I was gonna get it. It's Roger Moore's 1981 movie, For Your Eyes Only. And I think this like came out. I was like flipping through it before I put it in the bag in the board, just for the video so I could show these. I'm trying to show them so I can start archiving them and then going back and reading them. But I think this came out like right when the movies were coming out, or when the movie was coming out that fall, which is pretty crazy that they like lined it up that close. What do we got? Oh, okay. So I was like about ready to leave this booth, um, and my wife convinced me to start picking these up, and it's like I picked up a ton of these issues. Um, but I'm a big Grant Morrison fan, and I've heard nothing but good things about this run, and I got a lot that are not by Morrison too, but just for I'm a like in my collecting, I'm not a speculator or anything. I'm a completionist to an extent. You know, if I can, I like to complete runs. I like to have stories, like long stories, stretched out. I also like collecting them in singles because I like to see the evolution of the art form kind of in real time as you're flipping through the covers. It's just like there's something very satisfying and almost like almost archival about it. Like it's like you're kind of seeing history in real time. And yeah, I'm rambling, but yeah, this is Animal Man. This is Morrison's Animal Man, followed by I think Veitch, if that's how you say the name. Tom, I think it's Tom Veitch. But yeah, big Morrison fan. Haven't read this, so it's kind of debatable if I'm a big Morrison fan because this is one of the first things I think that they did, or at least the earliest things for DC. But yeah, my wife convinced me to get them. I don't know if she thought the covers were cool or what, because I found like, I found like 40 or so, or like a lot of these. Here's number 3. In like a single long box at this one vendor's table. And so I pulled a bunch of them out and I like looked at my wife and I already had like, I don't know, like well over 100 books. And I was like, man, like, should I get these? Like, I have a few of these in my collection already, but not very many. And she's like, just do it. I was like, okay. I don't know if she liked the covers or she was just trying to get me to hurry up. But yeah, Animal Man. The older that I get, with the exception of like some of the like noir stuff that I'm into, and maybe you could argue Batman, but I kind of am into just kind of more absurd and outlandish stuff, like more colorful, I guess, like just kind of weird and wacky and dark. And this, I've heard this is like very metafiction, has a lot of metafiction elements to it, which we'll see. That's definitely that metafiction is very hit or miss for me. So like, but I think I just have enough of a track record with Morrison that I at least trust. I at least trust them to be interesting, and obviously I'm not buying these out of any remote like speculation because DC's got like like 2 other characters off the top of my head that pretty much have the same power sets as Animal Man, quote unquote, that are probably more interesting to like, you know, either market or to fans. Beast Boy or Gar and Vixen. Who, by the way, Vixen should get like. DC needs to do something with Vixen, I think, like, or at least put her like in the like make her more of a fixture in the main Justice League team. I don't know. I know Justice League right now. I was reading it. I stopped, but I know Justice League right now is like kind of this. It's not really like this concrete team. You're gonna hear my chair squeaking, by the way, all day as I keep reaching in and out of the box. I know Justice League is like this revolving door roster right now, but yeah, I don't know. She deserves something more. She's just cool, and her design is kick ass. And Animal Man's kind of goofy, obviously. I do want to read the Jeff Lemire New 52 Animal Man, which I know crosses like really, or like is like kind of a sister series to this is a sick cover, by the way, kind of a sister series to Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing, and obviously they both are involved in that Rot World event. And I like Snyder's Swamp Thing. I actually like Charles Soule's Swamp Thing a little more. But I've heard good things about Lemire's Animal Man. And I know it's quite a bit of a different take on this. Like, I don't think it has. I think it's probably a little darker or like a little more, edgier than this. But yeah. So I got a lot of Morrison issues here. This is another one of my favorite covers of the trip. The cat looks so cool. And also there's a white silhouette, or I don't even know if that's what you call it, but it's cool. Very metafiction cover here. Very much looks like whoever had this, the original owner might have been smoking Marlboros all day, but whatever. I don't. As long as it's somewhat clean and intact, and I'm good. Number 20. But yeah, we had a good time at the con aside from I got sick. She didn't get sick, which is good because I'm already kind of dragging her, although she likes it too, even if she doesn't admit it. But I also just don't love going by myself to stuff, so it's nice to give me an excuse to stay a little longer and be a little more sociable. There was kind of a jerk guy that was like at this booth that kept I think this booth is the same one that last Motor City Con, very meta. Last Motor City was a Psycho Pirate. They had the same booth was like 50-cent bins, and this time it was more close to $1, or like most of it was $1. And this older guy, ooh, that book kind of looks like shit. Oh well. He was kind of throwing a fit about the fact that it wasn't 50 cents anymore, and it was just these like younger guys working the booth, clearly like they were working like on behalf of somebody. They weren't like the owner or whatever of the store, and so they were like, we don't, we have a directive where we have to keep it hard, like a hard stop at 1. And the guy just kind of kept bothering them off and on, and it's just really awkward, and it's a sick cover. Actually looks like almost like Steve Dillon art. Speak of the Devil. I've heard this is like 6 issues of Milligan, and then it moves to someone else, and the quality varies, but that's what I've got. But yeah, it was very awkward. It's a great cover, number 30. Oh yeah, we got more Animal Man. Number 32. $33. But yeah, if you're one of the 2 or 3 people that watches these, thanks so much. That's cool. My production value is 0, although I did invest about big old $15 in a tripod to actually like hold this so I don't have to worry about it falling all the time. I used to like prop up my camera on this is cool. It's like a very breaking the fourth wall. Which is funny because I do not like Deadpool, and I don't like when Harley Quinn does it either. But what was I saying? Yeah, I would set my phone like against a coffee cup or something so that I could keep it steady and like just point it at the comic books. And my wife was like, "You just gotta like they're cheap. You gotta at least just get a tripod." So I did, and it works pretty well for how dang cheap it was. Is this are they riffing on the Punisher here, like spoofing him? I don't know, probably. I haven't read it. wolves are my favorite animal, so this is pretty much me most weekends. We need more wolf-related superheroes, or like wolf powers or something like that. I don't know. Vixen, like all these, like they don't count because they can turn into any of them. But so here's the Veitch. We've probably been in the Veitch for a bit. I just haven't been paying attention because I've been trying to get through them. You know what? I'm breaking this up into 2 parts. We're gonna go through the Animal Man here, and we're gonna call it there for a bit. Yeah, these were all $1, so I guess like I'm now into collecting Animal Man by virtue of my wife, and it does seem interesting to me. I think it's something that's going to be at least compelling. From what I understand, it's like a family story as well. And yeah, I don't think we're gonna see the character very often anytime soon. It's a sweet cover, top tier cover. So yeah, I'm collecting Animal Man now. Yay. But yeah, in that spirit, I was saying this before, but I think I'm gonna do like some collection, like maybe like some smaller collection update videos. I don't know if anybody has any suggestions, like at least like talking through like kind of what I'm chasing or like what I'm trying to fill out. That's cool. Or like how far I am away from finishing something, and giving people a better idea. Like I do think I'd like to go through sometime and like do a video of like all of my, like all my Brubaker and Phillips comics or whatever. Like, and so like do these little like showcase videos where I just kind of wax or this is a great cover to end on. Wax poetic about, Jamie Delano did some of these. This is probably pretty good. Just like wax poetic about stuff that I love and give it, splurge, as the kids say, give it its flowers. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. It's getting to be almost 30 minutes already, so we are certainly about halfway, not even, through what I purchased. Yeah, I got a lot of cool stuff. A lot more Vertigo and stuff to show after this. That's a sweet cover. I actually am not familiar with, it's Bolland? Bolland? But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Part 2 will come at some point, and you guys have a great weekend. Read what you buy cool stuff, try not to chase the FOMO or whatever, like the hype, and have fun reading comics and being a nerd. See ya.